Alrighty, welcome everybody to a new episode of Spectrum Talk. I so we got some news this morning. Some pretty big fucking news. Indiana Jones is back. It's a video game. I don't know how this relates to the supposed new movie that they're gonna do. That I forgot who's actually directing it. But what I do know is they're making another game, and it's by the Wolfenstein guys, specifically Machine Games, who made the amazing Wolfenstein New Order, and then Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. Those games are amazing, and all about fucking up some Nazis. Because, I mean, that's the point. So, that seems like a pretty good fit for Indiana Jones, considering that's what he does in 2 out of 4 movies. That's weird. He only fights Nazis in 2 movies. The first one and the third one. The second one, he's fighting like cultists or something for some reason. Not really sure what that's all about. I don't like Temple of Doom. I never have liked Temple of Doom. And I'm one of the crazy people that actually likes the 4th movie. Yes, it has problems, but I find those problems aren't nearly as bad as Temple of Doom's. Temple of Doom's got some issues. One of those issues being that it was written by a very, very angry George Lucas. And nobody decided to check him on his anger and writing, because they're like, just leave him alone. He's going through a divorce. He'll be fine. He's not going to write something horribly racist and sexist and misogynist. Oh, shit. He did. That's not great. I don't know. The 4th one's issues are like a lot of the CGI. Not that there's CGI in it, but that it doesn't look good. Like, there's just some weird shit with that movie. But I actually like the story. People are like, "Oh, aliens! I want aliens." I'm like, he's fought God like twice. They prove in those movies. So they prove God through the Ark of the Covenant that exists. Then the second one, he fights. He basically proves a Hindu god as well as like a Hindu demon, because that happens very early on. Like when they rip that dude's heart out of his chest, the chest just opens up. That's not natural. So they prove that. And then the third one, oh, Jesus Christ is real because we got the Holy Grail. And it's like, are aliens really that big of a step? That didn't bother me. That didn't bother me at all. Was it kind of funny and weird? Yeah, but look at the other movies and what they've proven in their world. Think about it. Aliens not the biggest thing in the world. I mean, hell, the 5th one he might be going after vampires, and in the games, he went after Atlantis, which I wish they would. That's such a good game. For those who don't know, Indiana Jones has actually had Indiana Jones has had a pretty solid track record when it's come to video games. It's like the first video games were point and click adventures, or kind of point and click, and there was some action of the movies. Then I think there was one original story before Atlantis, but then there is Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, which is a point and click adventure game, and it's fantastic. It is fantastic. I don't know the easiest way to get it. I don't know if it's available on GOG or Steam, but I do know that in Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings, it is available on the disc, as well as I think another game. But Indiana Jones and Staff of Kings that has a very interesting story. I'll get to that in a second. But it's available on that disc, and you can find it pretty cheap on PS2. I think the Wii version actually might be harder to find. There's also like a DS and PSP versions that are wildly different. But yeah, pretty good track record, because Fate of Atlantis is a great game. There's an N64 and PC game called The Infernal Machine. I don't know how that one is. I've never played it. I would imagine the N64 one doesn't play very well. I saw the Angry Video Game Nerd play it once, and it didn't look great on the. But they played on the N64. But there's a PC version that looks so much better, so I imagine it plays best there. How you play it, I don't know. I don't know how, outside of getting a cartridge of it or getting the PC game, and even then, if you can run it, because old PC shit does not like new PC shit. So I have no idea, especially that late 90s, early 2000s PC stuff that hates new stuff because there's not a lot of stuff that runs it very well. And then there was like where they would only run on certain video cards or this or that. You get stuff you get stuff very weird. So it's like I think like Shadows of the Empire has a very interesting um if I got the word correct, I think it's a very interesting can't remember. You can't run the game. You can only run the game with like one particular graphics card, but then other graphics cards can work, but they'll cause really strange issues. And I think it only works with certain like sound card. It's really weird. So when you put on the new stuff, it just dies. It just does not want to work. But play it on the N64. But yeah, I don't know how the Infernal Machine, if it's good or not. I do know the game they made after that on the Xbox is really good. Though the ending's weird. It's the Emperor's Tomb, Indiana Jones: The Emperor's Tomb. I think it's only on the Xbox. It's really good. Weird because there is some crazy shit that happens in that game. Some wild shit that if they made a movie of that, people would have complained. Because I think you fight like Frankenstein at one point in time, or something that's supposed to be Frankenstein's monster. And then there's like a bunch of Chinese folklore, and there's like a ghost world that you enter at some point. It's nuts. And then you got what was it? Was there anything in between there? I think it's just Emperor's Tomb. Was it Emperor's Tomb or Dragon Emperor? I'm trying to remember. And then there's I think it's just Staff of Kings, which is technically on the next generation, but it's on the PS2 because a lot of Wii games got PS2 ports. I have the PS2 version, but I originally played it on the Wii, and I remember enjoying it a lot. Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings, a lot. For some reason, it didn't review all that well, but it doesn't have a lot of reviews because no one really knew it came out. So this game's weird. That game was originally shown off at the Microsoft press conference in E3, like 2006, 2007. It's like the brand new Indiana Jones game. It was when they, for some reason, did a bunch of movie game reveals that never came out. Ever. Dirty Harry, that game never had a chance in hell. I think they only made the trailer. But then The Godfather came out. It was just weird. There was a Scarface game. Hell, there was a Reservoir Dogs game. So there was some weird shit going on at that point in time. So you got that, but everyone's excited. Then it just went radio silence, and I think they said it was canceled, but then it wasn't. It got released on the Wii, the PS2, the PSP, and the DS. Now the ports of those on the handheld consoles are completely different games. And I played the PSP version, and I don't like it at all. I never played the DS version, but it's pretty different. Pretty different from what I've seen. And then you got the PS2 version, which is just the Wii version with PS2 controls. But I own it. I'm playing a good chunk of it. And I have fun with it, but it doesn't feel right. There's something that doesn't feel right about it. On the Wii, I liked it quite a lot. I remember enjoying the hell out of it, but on the PS2 it doesn't feel quite right, but I don't think it's bad. I haven't seen anything, because I've played some broken bad games as of recently, and it's not bad. But it's fun. It's not as good as Emperor's Tomb. It's not as good as Fate of Atlantis, which is the best one. It's just so fucking good. But I had a lot of fun with it. So he had a pretty good track record with it, with games. He only skipped one generation, which was the Xbox One, PS4, and Switch generation. I guess technically Switch generation. Nintendo's kind of on their own thing with the Switch. Um, so now we're on the Series X and PS5, new Indiana Jones game. So he skipped the same amount of generations that James Bond has, which we're also getting a James Bond game. And that new Hitman game by IO is also coming out on the 20th, I think. And I hear it's amazing, or at least looks amazing on the Xbox. So I might pick that up. Might if I can. Might gamefly that actually, because I'm giving Call of Duty back. I'm not going to finish the story. I don't know why I just can't bring myself to it, and it has a lot to do with the fact that the whole Warzone, Modern Warfare bullshit that just pissed me off so much. Let's see. Is there a disc version of Hitman 3? If so, I'll gamefly that. Let me look that up. That's how I get all my stuff, is through Gamefly, because it's so good. Yes, there is a disc version. I will rent. I also never played Hitman 2. Might as well rent that as well. The Hitman trilogy on the 360? Is there not one? Is there not a Hitman trilogy on the Xbox One? That seems weird. But yeah, you got a pretty good track record of Indiana Jones games, so I'm glad he's back. And Machine Games making it. It's also part of the Lucasfilm brand, which something's weird about this. So Disney came out and announced that Lucasfilm is back and they're doing games again, which I'm excited about. But it seems to be more of a brand. They're going to use it as an umbrella. Now I don't know if it's only as a brand, because they didn't talk much about it. They just said, here's some games that have already come out that now got the Lucasfilm branding on them, despite not being made by Lucasfilm. That being, was it Rogue? Not Squadron. Or is it just Squadrons? Is it just Star Wars Squadrons or something like that? The flight sim game, or flight sim, the dogfighting game, which looks really, really good and I've heard great things about. I just haven't been able to play it. That game and Jedi Fallen Order, which are EA games. Now, this guy announced, people were like, oh, does that mean EA's not making Star Wars games anymore? Or that they don't have the whole license? Because technically, even though they have the license, I guess Big Daddy Disney can do whatever the fuck they want. I'm sure that's written in that contract somewhere that, hey, if we want to make games, we can just do whatever the fuck we want. But Lucasfilm is back. And gaming. Or LucasArts is back. Technically. Lucasfilm Games. So I guess it's LucasArts. It's weird. So does that mean that they're going to have their own game studio? Don't know, because the 3 games that we know that are being made under this new banner, or the 2 that are already out and then the 1 new one, are not new studios. Bethesda, the Big Daddy, which I guess it's Big Daddy Xbox, is making an Indiana Jones game. Though it's by Machine Games, which I'm very excited. Though I don't know if they've made anything but first-person shooters, so this should be interesting to see. And then I don't know if it's going to be an exclusive or not. But I have interesting opinions on the whole exclusivity deal with Microsoft. And that I don't think many of the games are going to be exclusive, at least forever, because of Game Pass, and that's your incentive to get into the Xbox ecosystem. Because they could put it out on all the platforms and be like, okay, yeah, you could pay 60, 70, whatever the hell they're going to charge on the other platform. Or you can play it on Xbox and get it through Game Pass. Wouldn't that be great? Especially if you think about it in the terms of the pandemic, because you can't return or like resell digital games. So if you get it and you don't like it, too bad. But especially with the Cyberpunk shit, oh god, though they did do refunds and stuff, and that was a whole nightmare. But I mean, with this, if you play a game that's broken or you don't like or whatever, you just okay, and then you just take it off your console and then go get another one. There's over, I think there's like 200 or something now, and then they got EA Play hooked in there too, which interesting. Not a whole lot on there that I really care about, but it's good. It's weird the new Madden's not on EA Play. I don't understand EA Play, but whatever. And so that could be the incentive. Also, they could put it's exclusive for a few months and it's on Game Pass. So then everybody jumps there to play it first, but then you can get on the other stuff, but still have to pay full price. It works, and I'm sure they'll keep some things to themselves at least for a while. In terms of the Bethesda stuff, in terms of general Xbox stuff, I don't think we're going to see Halo on other platforms, at least not for a while. I mean, maybe PC, because there's already like a free version of Halo that's Halo Online or some bullshit that's like in Russia, which is weird. I don't know why it's only in Russia. And there's all kinds of other stuff. And of course, there's the Master Chief Collection on PC. I don't know what that means about Infinite, but I think a lot of that stuff they're going to keep to themselves. They're not going to share it with Nintendo or PlayStation, at least at first. But with Bethesda, it being a multi-platform company before, I think a lot of those games are going to go multi-platform eventually. Some of the stuff Xbox will keep to themselves, and maybe only very few of them will keep to themselves forever. Like a year. It'll be like, you play the new Doom on the Xbox, and then later you can play it wherever the fuck else. We don't give a shit, but you can play it here first, and it's on Game Pass. But even if they went day and date, it's pay $60, $70 here, or just get it on Game Pass. And you can play it on PC or Xbox. That's a really good deal. And I see, especially for third-party games, a lot of people getting Xboxes once people start to understand the value of Game Pass, especially with all their acquisitions and deals that they're making. I love Game Pass. Absolutely adore. I loved Game Pass even when I couldn't use it because I didn't have internet. I was like, this is great. I'd only get like 2 games a year, but it was still great. But yeah, and either way, this game's coming to Game Pass, multi-platform or not. And then there's the whole thing about, so when you buy a company, you can't just start immediately announcing what's coming to your stuff or what is yours now, because it takes a long time to actually buy a company, especially for billions of dollars of stock options. Everything has to be finalized. And as far as I know, that hasn't been finalized yet. So Microsoft or Xbox can't come out and be like, this is our new game. Which is why this announcement was made by Bethesda. It was made by Machine Games, which I thought was weird, but it was made by Bethesda, not Xbox. And so far, I haven't seen Xbox say anything. This has to do with the fact that the acquisition isn't finalized, and I believe that's an FTC violation. So, yeah. But is this game going to be on Game Pass? Yeah, it's going to be on Game Pass, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fucking great. Is it going to be an exclusive? Have no idea. But Blessing Adeoye Jr. from Kinda Funny Games did say something hilarious, is that Xbox now has their own Uncharted, and it's just literally Indiana Jones, which is true. It's very true. I just can't believe. And there was also 2021 on there, and I don't know if, well, it is 2021 now. So we don't know how far away this game is. Same with the James Bond game. It was just a very, very rudimentary teaser. In fact, there was less animation in the Indiana Jones teaser than there was in the James Bond teaser. It looked like a still picture for most of it until the hat moved. So, very, very early. I don't know how long they've been working on this. We do know it has the Lucasfilm branding on it. But we don't know how long this has been in development. Maybe it's been in development for quite a while. We just don't know. Because Machine Games hasn't done anything since the Wolfenstein stuff. And as far as we know, they have nothing in the pipeline. So this could have been very, a year? Maybe a year or 2 in development. And they're just waiting to show more. Plus with COVID making everything go haywire. I mean, who knows? I do believe it's going to be good. I just don't know what it's going to look like. I'm almost positive it's going to be third person, but I only know Machine Games for the Wolfenstein game, so I don't know if they've made anything else. They've ever made a third person game. This sounds awesome. I can't wait. Can't wait to see what this is. Very excited. We're getting a James Bond game and an Indiana Jones game in probably like 2022. It's going to be so much fun. So I didn't realize that Hitman 3 was coming out already. I thought it was still being developed and whatnot. So I was expecting James Bond to be pushed pretty far out. But but it's not. So, and who knows how long that game has already been in production. But I do know it's probably not coming out this year because they just have Hitman come out on the 23rd or on the 20th. The Medium comes out the 23rd, which I'm very excited about. Um, Speaking of the Medium, they released a gameplay, not trailer or whatever. They just showed what the game actually looks like when you play, and it's straight up Silent Hill. When I played Blair Witch, I was like, man, these guys want to make a Silent Hill so bad because it played like a first-person Silent Hill. A lot of very Silent Hill vibes to it, um, especially the things with his wife, and they were just using Blair Witch as a franchise and just put a name on it. But this was a Silent Hill as shit game, more Silent Hill than Outlast. So I was very excited. I was like, man, these guys want to make a Silent Hill game so bad because Bloober Team is really good at it. Really good with that psychological horror shit. And every game they're getting better and better and better messing with it. Bloober Team and their other teams that they work with, like the guys who made Layers of Fear 2, which is not Bloober Team, but Bloober Team made the first one. And then they also made Observer, which also really awesome. But they got the Medium come out, and they revealed the gameplay, and it's fixed camera angles. Now, they said this game isn't possible on last-gen systems, just because of the amount of power it needs, and that's because you're basically running two games at the same time. But I was thinking it was going to be something like the Master Chief Collection, where you can switch back and forth, or like Halo Anniversary, and I was like, well, that's the same engine. It's just they were literally running two different engines in the background, and I'm like, well, you could do that, but you're not swapping back and forth, at least not all the time. There are moments in this where you are playing two separate games with two completely different environments. So it's not like A Way Out, where it was two different perspectives, but within the same level. No, this is also very, very high dollar looking. Two different environments, sometimes wildly different. And that would take a lot of horsepower, especially to keep it on the level of fidelity that they have. Because at the gameplay they showed, it like did the split screen thing, and you were doing both. I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't watch too much of it because I didn't want to get spoiled on it. I just wanted to see what it looked like. And it's also fixed camera angles. At least the amount that I saw, and I'm like, they want to make a Silent Hill game so damn bad. They want to make a Silent Hill game so fucking bad. I cannot believe how much they want to make a Silent Hill game. Because if Blair Witch wasn't enough, them making a game is like, ooh, spooky hotel, weird rundown city, also fixed camera angles. I'm like, yep. I saw fog at one point in time. Yep. This is Silent Hill. This is absolutely Silent Hill. They're just auditioning so hard. But I think if anybody's going to get a chance at a Silent Hill game, it's going to be Blue Point. And it's probably going to be a remake, and I cannot wait. However, only thing I'm a little worried about, because that's been the rumor for a while, is so that gets interesting. So with Silent Hill, there has been trying to think. There's been a lot of rumors for like 5 years there's going to be a new Silent Hill game, which of course people want a damn new game. And then we got some stuff that looked pretty promising. One being a bunch of the old Team Silent just went to Japan Studios for Sony. And everybody got excited, like, oh, and then the rumor was they were working on it. And there was that rumor that Kojima was working on a Silent Hill project, and that there's also that Team Silent is working on a Silent Hill project. Then there was rumor that it was the same game. There was rumor, no, there's two separate games. One maybe a remake, God knows what. Then maybe PT's back. And then there was rumor that, no, it's not PT. Kojima's just doing a completely different Silent Hill project, which I don't know what the fuck that means. Bunch of different stuff. But a lot of the rumors were lining up. It's like these are the same people. A lot of the details were lining up the same way. It's just they couldn't figure out what the hell they were actually working on. But everyone was pointing to something Silent Hill related. Well, Team Silent left. The guys responsible left, and I think they're forming their own studio now, and they want to work on a horror action game. They left. So if that project was real at any point in time, it seems to be dead. or at least not involving them. If it's still alive, it's being done by someone else. Now, there's a chance that they were there just to oversee the project or some bullshit. There's some goodwill. I have no idea. But the whole big, hubbub was that, oh, they got them, they're back, they're making games again, and then they all left. So that seems not great. Maybe that's why I haven't heard anything about it, because maybe it's falling apart. Why it would be falling apart, I have no idea. Maybe it has something to do with Konami. Maybe it has, I don't know. There was the rumor that Konami was making a game. I don't know what the hell that. Then there were the rumors that Blue Point was going to be remaking something before Demon's Souls, because when they talked about their next remake, there were a bunch of rumors flying around that there was going to be a Metal Gear Solid remake. I think there was some artwork, there's some bullshit, but then that got tabled for something else, which then turned out to be Demon's Souls. We don't know if those Metal Gear Solid rumors were real, but there hasn't been a remake or even re-release of the first Metal Gear Solid in quite some time. The only ways to play it are on the original PlayStation, or you can play the remake that they did on the GameCube, but only on the GameCube. Now, kind of difficult. And of course, you could emulate it, but if you want to play it on a disc or whatever, it's very difficult. You can't just go and download it legally. So that kind of sucks, and they haven't even put out just a remastered version. Now, I guess you could get the PlayStation, whatever stupid mini console they did that's terrible, which they're getting really cheap right now. There's just a bunch of them sitting out of Brookshire's for some reason, and I've been thinking about snagging one, just because it does have some games, and they're in mostly HD, and it'd be the easiest way to play them, but I hear they run terribly. But MGS, man, so might as well snag it. But they haven't put that game out. They put out the other ones, but they haven't put that one out, and I don't know why, because they don't really have to put in a lot of effort for people to buy it. Just put it out there. You could put out the exact same game, just on different platforms, and nobody would give a shit. Maybe being 480p or what? No, the PlayStation didn't run in 480. It ran in like 260 or some weird bullshit. So do that, and people would be like, "Yeah, Metal Gear." So it's been a while, and there was those rumors that Blue Point were doing it, but then there were some that Blue Point was doing Silent Hill. Now I know Blue Point's still working, but they did Demon's Souls. So the rumors were they were working on a different project, and they got tabled to do Demon's Souls. But if that project's still there, they're still working on something. I want to know what that is, or if it's still being made. Metal Gear Solid would be awesome. Silent Hill would also be awesome. The thing that scares me about Silent Hill is there were some Silent Hill remakes. There was the HD collection, which were remakes, because Konami didn't have the original fucking code, so they couldn't just go in and just make a nice, shinier looking Silent Hill. They had to pretty much remake the game. They gave them some older code, but they didn't have the finished game, which is why Silent Hill HD collection is terrible. It's just awful. So that's not great. It's legit awful. And they also did a lot of new voice acting, which doesn't work. But for whatever reason, it's just awful. But it's not the team that did its fault. They were given a raw deal, and Konami just wouldn't work with them and gave them a really tight deadline. And that's what scares me about Blue Point, is Blue Point's been just has an amazing track record, but they're smart enough to understand about Konami and what Konami's doing. And that might be why they just don't do stuff, because Konami's a bitch. It seems it could be as simple as that, because they don't want to ruin their reputation. They don't want to put out a bad game, especially when it's not their fault, because they've seen what happened with the HD collection. And similar things could happen with Metal Gear Solid, as Konami doesn't seem to give a shit about what happens with Metal Gear Solid, as we saw with Metal Gear Survive. But Blue Point would be the guys to do it, because they did incredibly well with Demon's Souls. They made Shadow Colossus better than the original. These guys, and they did it twice, by the way. These guys know what they're doing. But even then, if they would want to tackle something new, I mean, they are the remake guys. They also did the Metal Gear Solid collection, and it's great. But they are the remake guys. They probably want to branch out a little bit. What that game would be, I don't know. Their new game would be, I have no idea, but I bet it would be fun. Um, have they made horror before? I don't think they've made a horror game, so that would be something new for them. But then, even then, so would Metal Gear Solid would be new for them. So the little Texas-based studios growing up. I always loved Blue Point. Also, some people said Sony's thinking about making a major acquisition, and people were throwing Blue Point around, and I hope that doesn't happen because I don't. Not that I don't want them to get paid. No, 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 no. I don't want Sony to snag them because Sony will lock them down. And like you're gonna make PlayStation games, only PlayStation games, and that's gonna suck. And that can also limit the stuff that they maybe want to do, the franchises they want to mess with. And that sucks. Whereas if, say, someone like Microsoft got them, because Microsoft has a weird track record, they probably let them do whatever the fuck they wanted for a second. You can make new stuff, you can make old stuff. Oh, this franchise here, okay, we can just do it. But unless it was something on Sony, then maybe that wouldn't work out. But it was staying where they are. They can make exclusives for Sony. They can make exclusives for Microsoft. They can make exclusives for Nintendo. I don't think they've done that yet, but they could. And they can make multi-platform games. They've done a lot of Sony stuff, but they also did the Metal Gear Solid collection, and then people forget about this. They made one of the best ports I've ever seen, and that was the Titanfall Xbox 360 port, which was at the time thought not possible. And it's amazing. It's amazing. It runs so damn well. It's incredible. And it's the same game. And Blue Point did that. They got contracted to do that and did an amazing job. So they have ties with Microsoft right there. That was an Xbox exclusive. So they have ties with Microsoft. They have a lot of ties with Sony. I don't want either of them to get them. Contracts I'm fine with, but I don't want them to be locked down in any way. Nintendo just grabs them for whatever reason. Be weird. But as much as I want to see them make Silent Hill or Metal Gear Solid, I don't want them to get nabbed by anybody, unless that's what they want to do when they want to make the money. Because okay, make the money, especially in these times. I don't think they're hurting, but I just don't want them to get locked down and them miss out on being able to make something amazing that they can't do because they're locked down to one company or the other, and that would suck. But yeah, I hope it's Silent Hill. I'll take either. But they are making something else. I haven't said anything, but we know they are making something else. But there's all these Silent Hill rumors going on. At some point in time, someone's got to come out and be like, it's either happening or it's not happening. That's what I'm hoping. It's all of the rumors and a lot of the details lining up. It seems that something is real. What that something is, nobody knows. It's probably a pachinko machine. I hope not. Maybe it's a VR game. I don't know. But something is real. There's something Silent Hill related. So someone's talking. There was that really big rumor years ago that Xbox just bought Silent Hill. But that never happened. I would think Xbox would just straight up buy Konami. Because why the hell not? Buy Konami, but give them exclusive rights to use their franchises for pachinko. Done deal. Konami takes that, because if that's all they want to fucking use their games for, that license, like you have exclusive gambling rights. You get to keep all your franchises and can put them on whatever the fuck you want, gambling-wise. All the stuff that makes you money, you get to keep. We want the games because we'll actually make games. And we'll give it to, I don't know. Hey, Double Fine, you want to make a Silent Hill game? That'd be fucking weird. Go make it. Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, that would be weird. I would love to see what Tim Schafer would do with an incredibly serious horror game. But yeah. I'm excited we're getting a new James Bond game. I'm very excited we're getting a new James Bond game. And a new Indiana Jones game. Fucking... There's 2 games I'm incredibly excited for, along with Halo Infinite. Please be good. Some more people left, so I don't know, but that could be because a lot of the production is winding down. That game's coming out in November. I'm almost positive it's coming out in November. That'd be the 20th anniversary of Halo and the Xbox. Be like, November 11th or November 13th or something like that. Release it then. Because then it would seem like it's planned. It'd be great. You have like a big anniversary party and shit like that. Big, cool Halo edition Xbox. Why the hell not? Be fun. I don't know. What I do know is I believe that's the end of the episode. It's a little bit shorter this week, but I just had to get that off my mind. Trying to keep these more of a regular weekly thing, but it's hard. It's a little bit easier now. I'm a lot less stressed out now that I know that I'm not dying. Thank God. Just got to figure out how to deal with everything else. But I'm not dying. Yet. But other than that, thank y'all for watching, for listening, and I will see y'all in the next one.